That's enough music. Hello everybody, welcome to our next webinar. This time it's just a continuation of our previous interior endeavors. So this time we're going to be diving into materials and we're going to be talking about those a little bit. And we're also going to be preparing a very simple yet good looking lighting for our scene based on what we know about it. First thing I'm going to do is just quickly grab the information that we have, and that's going to be just the previews, obviously. So 1 second, I need to find the right folder because I thought that I have it opened, but apparently I did not. The thing is that whenever we work with this kind of scene, we want to make sure that we've got the appropriate lighting. And hello, Robin, hello, Asim, hello, Arun. Nice to have you guys. So we decided that this is going to be one of those I would say this is going to be a non-member video because I think everybody's going to enjoy the fact that, well, we can finish up this scene together. Although I'm going to reserve the right to go through the minimum. At the same time, I'm going to ensure that we as, our members are going to get the whole scene finished for free in the post section. Hey Mike, how are you been? Thank you very much, Paul. Very good. And what can I say? We're just in our term, so it means that we're going to be parents in approximately any minute now. What I want to say is, my name is Mike and I'm a teacher for VizAcademy. VizAcademy is an online school that will teach you how to create beautiful 3D visualizations in less than 7 weeks. Currently, we also offer animation, but to be absolutely fair, and I need to be straight up with that, I am re-recording the videos because I burnt my computer again, and the current group is waiting for me to finish. So in that case, I'm going to be absolutely straightforward. This is going to happen approximately within a week. Now, hello, my favorite teacher. Thank you, Sad. Really appreciate that. And what can I say? I'm pretty nice. Yeah, I would like to be friends with me, and I kind of am. Enroll to VizAcademy if you want to become my student and create beautiful 3D visualizations just like my groups do. And for example, we can open up a little bit of some of the secrets. So there's a lot of people joining our training at the moment, but this is basically what, for example, Kamarai has created. Kamarai hasn't yet finished his interior, so I'm not going to say that there's any kind of problem there. It's just that we're working on it and we're going to get there eventually. But there's plenty of students that actually finished their images, and one of them, for example, is June, and also Annie. There's Irene, but I'm going to show the big guns now because David is one of the students currently that lead the pack, I would say. So I'm going to show and highlight his work because I believe that being as talented as that needs a little bit extra recognition. So this is literally the first interior that David has created with VizAcademy. Then there's this one, and I love the fact that David literally asked, hey Mike, how do I emphasize this glass, how to make it a little bit better? I gave him a couple of pointers on how to set up the lighting, how to set up the glass, and then we talked a little bit about materials. But long story short, thanks to the fact that David is an extremely receptive person, he just listens and does what he's told, but not in a robotic way. It's like he's smart enough to listen because somebody who wants his success is trying to give him tips. And he did listen, he did create this beautiful image, then out of the blue. And honestly, this one was a surprise to me because I thought that we exhausted his capabilities at some point by creating those two images. He already really proven that he's absolutely amazing. But then suddenly the third image came in, and this one was basically without me even intervening. Currently, David is self-sufficient. He can do those images on his own, and he proven it again and again and again, because this image was just something absolutely out of the blue, beautiful, absolutely great, and what can I say? It's just David. That's all. Hey, start modeling less sound, bro. Yeah, Snoo, thank you for being my boss, and absolutely no. Let's see a little bit more of his progress, and let's see what can we do here. So absolutely amazing work, and again and again and again, but we've got more students to show you. So for example, we can also go to Dario's folder, where again, just amazing images, one after another, and Dario is now creating his first exterior, so that's going to be a big thing, because you can see that the progress is really going well. But he's actually very smart, because he's not only creating one shot of one scene, he decided to work a little bit more on details all around the place. Just look at the garages, look at that. That's amazing attention to detail that I absolutely appreciate. And Dario, yeah, just do your thing. You're absolutely amazing, and keep being that way. We can obviously show, for example, I think we already highlighted Valeria's work. She's now working also on an exterior, and she's really progressing well. So now I think we're going to slowly move on to 3ds Max. And since we basically modeled the whole scene last time, and we've got everything set up in it, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up our lighting. So just so it's fair game, I'm going to reset the settings, and we're going to start building towards our success step by step. Less sound, please increase. Anu, I'm not sure what you mean, but yeah, I cannot be talking to the microphone like this, so you're going to have to bear with me. So that's the maximum volume I'm able to set up our mic at, but allow me to just check if there's anything I can do for you. Well, what can I say, Anu? You do sound like a little bit of a handful. So let's see what we can do for you. Input device is working well, and where's the settings for it? Sound, okay. Unfortunately, that's the limit of the microphone, and I'm not going to be able to set up any higher volume at this time. Hey, part 2! Yes, Aquamarin, nice to see you. Can you make a full tutorial on a snowy mountains terrain from Hitman Japan, Hokkaido, Citus Invertus? I want to know how the mountains and snow are models. Thanks. Abu, I think we can. I think we can. Can we share my work or here so you can comment on it, what needs improvement? And Nadish, we're going to do a portfolio review next week, so yes and no. As I said, the microphone is at maximum currently, and I cannot add more. It's just that. So now we're going to continue a little bit further. Hello from Germany, Wojciechowski, and that name, that surname really sounds Polish to me, although in Germany. So thank you very much for joining, Timo. That's absolutely amazing. So I think we're going to have some kind of something in common, probably, because my surname is quite close to yours. Not the same, just very similar. Hello, David, I just talked about you. So I hope that you won't be bothered by that. But again, I'm just super proud of you. Guys, so we're resetting our settings. So we're going to be making sure that we try to go through a Corona physical material, and that's going to be our material override, just to get us started. So everything is going to be in material override mode, and we do not get too too far with trouble. So at first, if I just start rendering like this, we're going to quickly notice that nothing is visible. That's because we currently don't have any kind of environment. And setting up your environment lighting once your model is more or less done is going to be your next step. So first we model the walls, we add a little bit of detail, not too much, and then we move on or progress towards our lighting, because the finer detail needs to be added in accordance to the mood we're setting up. Hello, Savan, nice to have you. Really amazing. So I already said that like 10,000 times during live streams, but who's going to stop me? I'm alone here. I'm going to be a father, and I'm super stoked about it, super excited, super ready, but obviously extremely terrified by it, but in a good way. I am really looking forward to that, because that's a totally new grounds for me. Now, let's go ahead and continue our webinar. Since we reset, I'm going to now go through the very basic setup for the environment. Everybody who's going to be getting the scene from us is going to get the full setup with specific materials and let's say tabs for specific elements. What I like doing in most of the cases is setting up my environment in a specific environment tab. Often I put 3s in here if there's not a lot of them. But this is where I put my background image, and this is where I put my environment. It's so much easier to find the right settings that way. Now, if I'm going to add this here, I make sure that first of all, the single map is selected. Now, the single map at first is just going to be white color, so it's not going to look that good. But once I drag and drop it into the same tab as an instance, which is super important, we're going to see that currently we've got something amazing going on. At first glance, this is enough lighting for me to pretty much be excited about this scene. I've got some really good shadows going on, and there's a lot of detail. Congratulations, thank you. Anyone from India? There's a lot of people from India in our chat. Typically, almost 50% of people are going to be coming from Asia. So there's a lot of people from India in our chat. So you see, there's already somebody here. So really glad to have you. Now, what I want to say is once we set up that, we're going to be either changing our white balance or we're going to be doing something even better, which I like the most. So we take our Corona Sky, we drag it a little bit towards the front, and we make sure that we also add Corona color correction. So Corona color correction is going to allow us to change some of the mood and some of its settings. So obviously, to keep this short, simple, and consistent, we're just going to drag and drop it as our sky. So now nothing is going to be different in the rendering yet. But the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to type in -dot, and then we're going to try to just come up with a number. So I'm just going to be looking it up. I'm actually looking. Okay, I have got it. So -0.2. You don't even need to type in the 0 because that's the thing that 3ds Max is going to do for you. That's just, yeah, I saved you one click. Now, let's go ahead and continue, because now the lighting is mostly done, but I don't think that all the lighting is done, and I am going to need a lot of those lights to be a little bit stronger and, well, a little bit more refined. One of the lights that I want to set up is this light just going downwards. I want to have additional light in this area, the shelves, and maybe some other lights that we will decide upon later. So I'm even going to go as far as desaturating it 30%. So now I'm going to have more neutral tones, but at the same time, it's not going to be exaggerated. Since I don't want to mess with the intensity of my light, I'm going to go for a simple exposure and go for something around 0.5 or even higher. Now, the ACOT is going to be something I'm not changing at all, but since leaves like this will need additional vignette. So I'm clicking the plus and going to vignette as I go here. So now we're going to go ahead and add just a little bit more of vignetting. So currently, vignetting is, let's say, the old version, but I'm pretty sure that Corona is not going to be sleeping on this, because V-Ray did some really great video frame buffer updates, and I want to see something similar in here. Now, the plus of this whole setup and the way we created our model is that a lot of models were downloaded. For example, you can, if you've been here the last time, and if you haven't, I would recommend you to watch our previous webinar before watching this one, although you're absolutely free to stay, because I'm going to be answering your questions if you have some or any. Is there a discount for the course? Currently, we are running a discount, so if you want to join us, please make sure to go to our website. Our training has a fixed price, but obviously there is a little bit of a discount there already included. So if you want to join us, go to VizAcademy Co. UK and become my student now. This is an investment that will help you not only gain confidence, but also create a spectacular mood, a very good composition, and to thrive artistically, and well, to get employment. But it's always going to be something that you have to individually work towards. So I'm just going to be your shepherd. So now let's go to Corona High Quality as our denoising, just for the sake of it. Now, as I said, some of the plans are going to be downloaded. So the first thing we're going to notice is that most of them, or most of the objects, won't require that much of our work. It all depends on what assets we're going to be using. And currently, because I want to be fast and efficient, I'm trying to use high quality assets, and some of them come from Chaos Cosmos. Obviously, the models that are, let's say, tailored towards this design, or elements that are absolutely unique to it, will be modeled by us. For example, the counters, the walls, and obviously some of the unique props that we're using. But it's mostly going to be all about making sure that our scene is consistent. So if the chair is slightly different, nobody's going to bother. Any update on the members group? Yes, soon we're going to be going for that, Aaron, and that's going to be a bit bigger, but please give us a bit more time. Currently, I'm kind of occupied, but obviously I'm going to keep you updated. We just need to make sure that this situation is solved. Then I'm going to be spoiling you guys with new stuff, and especially the VizAcademy Club that we're working on. So yes, Aaron, please stay tuned. Just a little bit more patience. Now, as I said, some of the objects are going to come perfect, but some of them will need some adjustment. And if the props will be, let's say, semi perfect, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the material. But that adjustment needs to be done right after we set up our lighting, because I actually had a lot of lighting already added to the scene. I'm not going to be creating everything. I mean, I will, but I want to make sure that it's fair game, and I can delete all the lights that are here so we don't cheat too much. Hey, thank you for becoming our member. That's highly appreciated. Thank you. Mike, what if we want to render 4 different shots for the same scene? Do we need to change light for each shot? That's a very good question, and typically that's something that not a lot of people use, but there are well, if you want to set up 4 different shots, it's all going to depend on what type of shots you're doing. If the shots do require you to change something in it, we're first of all and foremost we'll be setting up the individual cameras. So once we have our camera, let's say I'm going to go for this camera, grab it here, and I want to move it a little bit. Let's say that this is now my camera number 2, and it's going to be a zoom on those leaves. Okay, that's fine, but chances are that maybe this is going to be too dark, too bright, whatever it is, or the angle it requires me to add more exposure. I don't want to mess with the global exposure at the moment, because that's going to cost me a lot of time and a lot of headaches. So instead, I'm going to be selecting my camera. And in here, the first thing I'm going to be doing is ungrouping it, because for some reason, some drunken monkey named Mike added the camera to a group. Now, since we have our camera selected, the thing I'm going to be doing is simply going to tone mapping and override. So here we're going to just be able to have individual settings for this one camera alone. So whenever I switch from camera 1 to camera 2, this is how I'm going to be able to change my tone mapping. So potentially, I'm not going to need to do much with the lighting, because at this point, that's just going to be faster and quicker this way. But let's say that this is not going to be even possible. First, we copy the copy from the global, then we edit what we started with, and we just, well, okay, still I need more lighting. So what can we do about it? Well, the best thing you can do is get friendly with layers. So we create a new layer that's going to be called, let's say, sorry, come on. I need to, okay, and okay. Now we're going to be double clicking light set 01. Then we're going to create a new layer that's going to be called light set 02. Okay, so now I'm going to ensure that light setup number 1 is going to have a specific object in it with specific amount of power. Let's say it's going to be this gigantic sphere, right? Okay, so now I'm just going to look through camera 1. I want this gigantic light sphere to be in the middle of the shot. Doesn't matter that it makes no sense. It's just supposed to be there. And the light, you can clearly see that it's there, but let's make it obnoxiously strong and also very tinted, so it's going to create a bit stronger mood, which is what I'm going to be doing in this area in a second. So now, since this light is here and it's not going to fit my second shot, I'm going to make sure to save my rendering, and I'm going to go for something called X manage scene states. So the scene state manager is what's going to help you get acquainted with totally new way of working with your scenes. First of all, we save the current state of our scene as we want. So this is going to be my... You can also set your environment and materials, but I'm going to be skipping that at the moment because we're not changing anything there. So that's my default. Now I'm going to be hiding that light, and I'm going to save that as set02. Now, the tricky part is to actually start using batch rendering. In batch rendering, I already told you how to do it, so I'm not going to be going through all the settings for it, but if you're interested in that, please let me know about it. Now, camera 1 and camera 2, depending on what type of environment settings or your overall render engine settings you're going to be going for, that's what the preset is for. But did you know that, and tell me in the chat if you knew that, you can actually select your previously selected scene states. So for example, I can set the scene state 2 for camera 2 and also scene state 1 for camera 1, which will mean that once I'm done rendering the scene, camera 1, I'm going to be hiding or unhiding or even moving some of the lights in my scene. This is great for product design for multiple shots from one scenario, but it's definitely going to be something that I would like you to go through one step at a time, because you don't want to make those states too big because it's going to be obviously harder to work with. You typically set them up at the very end of your workflow when you're setting up just the cameras and just the lightings, so it's not going to be too overwhelming, but it's obviously going to be something that will greatly help you, especially with product shots. Now, hello, I'm stuck on a project trying to make an arch wall using Phoenix, but arch waterfall using Phoenix, but it's not working in the middle. It only falls from the sides. Do you have any solution? Make sure that the box is big enough, and also add subdivision modifier to your arch, because there is a chance that the object just isn't dense enough, and the software, the Phoenix, cannot really read it. Also, make sure that it's not excluded of your animation. Plus, make sure that the normals are correct, because if it's only working with sides, chances are that it's just going to be well, funny enough, pretending to see that object as an inside out object. Also, test if regular boxes or a more primitive meshes work. If they do, you can do something with that. But rendering is my best friend for my slow ass PC. Oh yeah, I don't find a page on your name. I approximately, which is quite expensive for us. Is there any probability of sure discount? Maybe, but at the moment I cannot give you that information, because we operate in the UK market, and that price is the investment that we want to propose to you, because we're not offering something that's going to be just few videos and farewell. It's 2 months of hard work of our whole team that supports you, gives you webinars, and also the pre-recorded videos that we currently also expand upon. So the videos are something that are constantly being brought up as bigger and bigger. Got it. Got it. You're the best. Thank you. Does the live contain materials making? Yes, we're going through it right now. So, as some of the objects will be downloaded, it's going to be much easier to deal with those mats. For example, again, how do we set up a typical leather sofa? We want this to look nice and easy. Since this sofa was downloaded of the chaos, we're going to have a very good start, because not only this material is going to be done to some standard, but also we can expect that it's going to work with our rendering engine. Rossi sofa, this is the sofa that we downloaded, and at the same time I made sure to download the Vantage leather material. Once we click here, I also want to activate the 3-planar mapping, and I'm going to guide you through the setup of this material and the sofa itself from scratch, because we're going to be doing materials for most of the objects that are important in our scene, and I'm going to just give you some tips on how some of the materials were done, because not all of them deserve our full attention. So now we're going to, again, grab the original sofa and just put it in our scene. Since I wanted this to be nice and easy, we're just going to grab the sofa. Okay. Chrono Proxy, perfecto. For some reason, we want to, this software wants me to re-download this. Okay, thank you so much for being so awesome. Let's see. How do you do that? Delete downloaded asset, delete. Thank you. Now, okay. Now, Rossi, let's download you, and let's see if we can set you up. Yes, GMA. Yes, if you have any doubts, problems, or that's exactly what I said. We support you. This is not some kind of figurative speech. Oh, I'm working on a hidden layer. Why didn't you guys tell me? Okay, so again, whenever our students are in doubt or need some assistance, our live support is going to be available to you 7 days a week for almost 12 hours a day. So what does it mean for you? Well, you're not sure how to create a box. You ask one of our amazing supports. Typically, it's going to be Ula, Alexandra, or Javier. Javier is our former student and one of the best I ever had. So obviously, This is somebody who's going to be absolutely amazing at helping you with your day-to-day work during our course, once you attend the course. So furniture, let's delete those two materials because I want to make this totally fair game for all of us. So first thing we do is we grab our sofa material, and we're going to quickly notice that this looks icky, and I'm not going to be even bothered with looking into it. Now, this is going to be the fabric or leather material. And again, I'm going to be super stoked about the fact that it's easier to actually now download than make materials and adjust them because, well, it's just there. It's good quality material, so why wouldn't we want to do it? Okay, so not 3D models, just downloaded assets, and let's take the letter. First, I want to activate the 3D planar mapping because that's going to save me a little bit of time. Now, this material typically is going to come with some sort of garbage that, for example, I love the fact that we've got a black light mix added to subsurface material, and it also has a 3D planar mapping. Yeah. Anyway, we also have this garbage element, which we're not going to be using, and IOR map. It's like, thank you, no. Also, edge color, nah, thank you. We're just going to use it as our roughness map because that's basically the same thing, but we're going to adjust it in a second. And last but not least is the fact that we've got good randomization, but it's set up per nothing. So, okay, but we need to go ahead and activate the per instance as well because we want this to work on our terms and not some kind of mambo jumbo terms. So let's ignore the fact that due to limitations of Chaos Cosmos, they cannot optimize those materials to be actually good. I mean, they're good, but we need to make them also easy to use. So one thing that I'm going to be doing at first is go to 3D planar mapping and add additional. Now, those two are going to be deleted in a second. So we want to add our first additional and the second additional to our x-axis, and we're just going to replug the diffuse, roughness, and our base map, our base bump to make sure that it's easier for us to control the 3D planar mapping. 3D planar mapping is exactly what UVW mapping is, but it has a built-in blending, and it's going to be axis dependent and not polygon dependent. So it means that the object's normal is going to be more important for it when doing the mapping. So we're not going to get a very rough corners in it. So we're definitely going to be using this material first. But once I'm going to exclude this material from my selection, you can see that now it's going to be the first material we're adding. I'm not going to be changing the legs for this object because it's going to be redundant. And now you can see that nothing is happening. Why? Because I haven't connected this map into my fabric. Once we do, it's going to change from yellow to really weird brown, but let's not stop there because now we also need to do something with the material because currently the IOR is set to 1. I want this to be more natural, just the default 1.5 is going to do the trick. Now the next thing is the roughness. Roughness map is set to 0.24, but at the same time it uses 100% of the map. Well, honestly, we might as well just ignore the fact and just go through it with the value because it's going to be good enough. But I want to go through the process using Corona color correction. So we apply Corona color correction before our map, and remember the rule. The brighter the map is, the rougher the surface is going to become. So we want this leather material to be neatly contrasting, but also slightly darker. So I'm going to lower the gamma here. So now we can see that more reflection is coming back. Okay, perfect. Now, my system is not running low on RAM, and stop lying, you really weird computer, you. No, that's not happening. And why would it be? Okay, so my computer got sweaty now. That's funny because there's no object in this scene that could slow me down that much. But my computer is going to freeze if, well, That's unexpected. Okay, let's see what's going on. How am I running low on RAM? Your absolute very good software. So let's wait a second. Let's stop the rendering because there must be some kind of shenanigans going on. Mike, when we take a reference matching the same render, how can we identify material and objects? Sometimes it's hard to understand texture and where to find them. So it's not really going to be something that I'm going to be able to tell you algorithmically, because this is something that often will be just eyeballed by you. There's no way that I can tell you, oh my God, my computer is really slowing down. Okay, so why are we using so much RAM for no reason at all? 1 second, guys, I need to unfreeze this. Okay. Let's grab a little bit more RAM. Okay, for the time being, it's working, but let's stop the rendering for a second, and we need to ensure that we've got it. 8:1. So, okay, I get it. So it seems like 3ds Max for some reason, or my Corona decided to overscale my image, and that ate all of my RAM. So I guess we just found a bug or something. Okay, so that's unique, I would say. So let's close this. Let's close that. Maybe it's going to get better that way. But I really, I am. It's 3ds Max for sure, but I'm going to check if anything else is doing it. Obviously, it's my 3ds Max, but it's not nearly as high as the system suggests. So this is weird. This is weird. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, 3ds Max, for being so awesome and suddenly just decide. I worked on this scene with you guys. I did show it during the live stream, and well, suddenly it decided, you know what? Let's just lag out. Close Slate Material Editor. I mean, I will. Is the rendering for sure, but wow. Okay, let's read the chat. Would you say that the Chaos Library items are equivalent in quality to those sold in by private vendors? Yes, the private vendors actually post their work there. For example, Max3, yes, Max3 actually advertises there. So yes, it's something I struggle with. Yeah, not all the assets are amazing, and you get much broader options from outside vendors, but I'm trying to prove that the environment we can work with is self-sufficient. So, you know what? That's weird, but I'm going to have to kill 3ds Max. So now, thank you very much for your, you've got your last chance, sir. Nope. Okay, now let's see it again. Okay. So Maximilian decided that it's time to be a naughty boy and, well, lag out. For no apparent reason, like no reason at all. Big fun, by the way, from India, lawyer teaching skills. Loop, thank you so much. I am I'm just super glad about that so many people support us. Mike, our still do visuals apart from teaching? Yes, I do. And currently we're working on some interiors, obviously for luxury clients. Luxury is a word that people like using, but those are just regular clients that I have, and that's it. So it's just they have a bigger house. So I'm sorry for your loss. Now, going back, because we're basically back to square one with that, so I'm just going to grab a root, the material, and we're going to clean this up a little bit because we were already getting there. So now, going back, before 3ds Max is going to go bonkers again, let's just grab this material. And again, this is one of the reasons why I tell my students to always create their own presets once they create their own materials, because now I could have saved myself from doing all this because, well, it is redundant what I'm doing at the moment, because I'm reproducing what I've already done 5 minutes ago, which is just a waste of time. So okay, let's make sure that we've got those extra two. This is it, this is it, this is that. Okay, perfect. And now we've got it. So we're back to where we were. Corona color correct. Got it here, and we were supposed to make this a little bit darker, so that's exactly what I'm going to do, 0.5. So now it's going to be less rough surface, and I'm also going to add a little bit of contrast so there's more difference in between. Now this material is obviously from Chaos Corona, so it's easier for us to navigate. Now the problem, or the thing, is that we also need to set up the right color for our sofa, which is going to be the element that we want to work with. And again, I'm going to need to set the material override, glass preserve, no, reset the settings. Okay, so we're almost there. It seems like I need to start saving a little bit more often. Normal map x times 2. It's not times 2, it's just that it's normal map with randomization, and also it's just regular mapping, so added here. So there's no double map, it's just that the map that we're using actually has additional bump. So no, that's a good tip, Mohammed, but it wasn't that. Now, let's see. We are going to be adding this in here. Also, we were at the moment where the 3 was added. Let's add file save as. Where is that guy that usually tells me to save? I needed him, but he wasn't there. I'm lost. Well, Mike, luxury is the most loosely used words in interiors. Every client says they want luxury interior. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just that's why I'm not using it. Let's say I'm using it frivolously because it's just funny how it always turns out that the clients wants luxury. Okay, 0.5 in exposure, and we're back to square one, and here we go. This time sofa was let's say sofa has been randomly selected to be pink, but now we're doing this material. Okay, we stop the rendering for a second before it blows up. You can see that the problem we're starting with is that the 3D planner map did a really awful job at first, because not only the scale is wrong, but also the randomization just doesn't work at the moment. Well, it's another example where we should do the randomization before we do anything else, but I'm not going to be bothered with that as much as I would like to. It's just going to be a stupid thing to do. Although instance 1111, okay, randomize. Okay, so here we're going to do the same. Instance 11111, okay. Now instance, okay, 11111, okay. And here just to check, yes, instance, perfect. Now the instancing is so that each object, if I copy it, is going to have separate or different mapping. So right now you can see that this is almost identical due to the fact that it's just not randomized. Also, because 3D planner map, it just doesn't necessarily translate the fact that it's supposed to be centimeters, not millimeters, although the material funny enough, states that it's going to be 60 centimeters. Thank you for that, because somebody who named the material wasn't a total monkey. So we're just going to go for 60, and now we're going to have better scaling for the material, and we can start looking into the colors. As I said, we are supposed to be deleting the additional lights, so but we are kind of in a situation where we lost half of our settings. I'm just a little bit afraid that if I do too much, it's going to lag out again. Now you can see that the letter size is much better. Randomization is way better on both, so it's basically done. Now the creme de la creme for me would be to also randomize each element for those, because it helps keep the randomization even better within one object. It's just better, but now I'm not going to be going too far with it. Since this letter is looking red and I don't like this, I'm going to go for -12 first to make it even redder, or +12 or 15 to make it almost yellow. So I'm going to go for something like 12. Okay, now with saturation gamma wise, I'm going to go slightly higher, so 1.2, and also we're going to be desaturating it by 10 to 20%, so it fits better what we wanted initially, and that's exactly what I wanted. Now as I said, we want to make sure that our roughness is going to be neat and the sofa is going to have a nicer reflection. So I want to lower this value almost to minimum, so there's a little bit of sheen on it, but not too much. Okay, perfect. Now we've got this leather sofa done, and the same material is going to go to my chair, which is basically going to be this material, also from Chaos Cosmos, but in this case we're going to be making sure that we do a bit of a workaround here, because I'm moving those materials just like that. For some reason during interactive render, this although connected is not going to register. It's just I think the VRAM is fully occupied, and that's why it just doesn't react. Now we've got another material which is large, right? So I'm going to see how it's built. I don't want to go into the details, but I can already tell that whoever made this material made it so that it's overly complicated, and I already don't like it. So overcomplication of materials is a clear sign of lack of professionalism. If your materials are exclusively only complicated, it means that you probably need to chill. So okay, let's go ahead and copy those two maps, and I'm going to just copy this as my fabric material in here. But now the fact or the difference is that I'm going to also go for the color correction and just making sure that I can. Okay, thank you. And I'm going to make sure that I can connect this color as my diffuse, so the object is going to be a little bit better. Now, I could just grab it here and add another color correction, but I kind of don't want to. In this case, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Let's make it nice and gray. Okay, now it's great, and we suddenly have most of our materials. I'm not going to be bothered with the rest of the materials because it's again redundant. And step by step, we're getting to the point where we suddenly have another object done. How to become a pro in Corona? Just listen to us or sign up to VizAcademy Co. UK and join our training, a 7-week course that will teach you how to create 3D renders, animation for interior purposes, and also make sure that you know a little bit about the image design and color design for your workflow. Hello, good morning from Austin, Texas. Hello to you too. I have a question. What's the difference between using Corona Sky map and an HDRI map? Thank you very much for that question. Also, I believe that you might live close to, I know Texas is the freaking biggest one ever, but you might be lucky and you might be close to Tom from Corona rendering render engine stuff, because he lives in Texas, Austin also. So if I recall correctly, but I might be wrong. Regardless, shout out to Tom from Corona stuff. Now, thing is that there's quite a lot of difference between them, but depends on your purposes or use case. So the HDRI is always going to be superior if it's exactly what you're looking for. So obviously, just looking at those two images, you can see the complexity of HDRI, the reflections, the differences of height, different angles, and multiple light sources, just because we created an image. And that's going to make the object look absolutely amazing just off the bat, because it's going to be realistic from the get-go. Now, as for Corona Sky, it's a great sky model, but it's not going to have as much detail. The reflections are going to be much more blunt, and you're not going to have as many opportunities for cool lighting scenarios. Also, you're never going to achieve supernatural looking clouds. There are built-in clouds which are, let's say, good enough, but I think the algorithm needs an update, since we've got so many different updates all around in different software. Well, going back to that, Corona Sky means flexibility and ease of use, because you're going to be able to set up your sun as high or as low as you want. And Corona Sky, due to it being realistic, or let's say photorealistic, is just clearly going to give you a better result in flexible terms. But always, if you have the right HDRI, it's just going to be better, mostly because of the richness of the reflections, the plurality of light sources, and very deep shadows. So that's going to be it. But the minus side of the HDRI is that you cannot create two shots out of it, a night and day shot. Well, you might be lucky, you might squeeze it, push it a little bit further to make it look good, but you're not going to be successful setting up 3 or 4 scenarios as easy as you're going to be with Corona Sky. So that's the main differences. Both are fantastic tools to use, and Corona Sky, for my purposes, general purpose right now, is just going to be easier to use, faster to work with, and that's basically it. So let's continue. 2 main materials are done, and now we're going to analyze how the wall material can be done. First, we're going to see what exactly is going on with this material, and we're going to try to recreate it based on the textures we possess. So first of all, we've got this very good looking texture that's going to be our base map. So this is our starting point, and that's what we're going to be basing, or we're going to try to base most of our material on. So that's it. So then we want to be smart, and we want to randomize this texture as much as possible. Now, I just noticed that there's a small mistake-o. So we should be always aiming or striving to rotate the textures in 360 Z rotation, because imagine that you have a slice of pizza. This is your texture, right? So your texture is going to be always projected in a flat out way. And again, it's going to be a pizza. So we've got our pizza, and now you can see that there's slices. So that's a pizza, right? So it's easier for us to, if we rotate it like this around its x-axis, so just spin it like you would be making the dough, that's going to be okay, because no matter how we rotate it, it's always going to look good, right? So another way of showing it to you is just creating a simple tile that's going to be flat on any surface. So that's it. And I kind of want to continue with my pizza reference. So pizza. That's a pizza. Okay, save image as. Just 1 second, guys. Making sure that oh my god, how could you do this to me, internet? Why are you forcing me to Okay, copy image, Photoshop is off. Okay, just one last try, and if it's not what I need, I'm going to just continue without talking about pizza, which is really absolutely wrong, and I don't like it. Copy image as, save image as. Okay, thank you. Pizza Hut, you saved us. So shout out to you, Pizza Hut, for not being dorks and not using the worst format ever created that for some reason Google forces upon our throats. So yeah, that's basically it. Now continue. Okay, thank you. Just faces, performance. Now we're going to go high quality. Or could you not lag? My God, my computer is doing me my computer is really doing me dirty today. Okay, so standard, got it. So we've got that pizza. It was supposed to be a little bit stretched. I know pizza is not relevant here, but I kind of want to. Okay, we've got a pizza. So let's say we want to set up our UVW randomization, right? So X-Y-axis rotation means that Y-axis is this. So this is how your texture is going to be rotated. Obviously, it's going to be shrunk and it's not going to look good. This is the Y rotation. This is the X rotation, and it's also going to mean that we're going to be, skewing our texture, essentially making it look bad. But if we Z rotate it, it's just going to be a spinning pizza. So it means that whenever you're going to be setting up your randomization, make sure that you only randomize it here in Z value from to 360. So it's much easier for you to basically set it up. And the scaling from to is, well, from 80%, so 80 means that we're going to have more tiling, and more percentage means bigger texture, so that's basically it. Yeah, so it actually works reversed, but I'm just going to pretend that I don't know, and we're going to continue. Hello, what's the difference between PNG Clear Sky and Ravafake on Corona Sky? My uni teacher recommended to use Ravafake always. So tell that guy that he has no idea what that person is talking about. So there's, first of all, Ravafake is going to be an older method of setting it up. It's not going to react to your sun's position as accurately as the PG Clear Sky will, and honestly, that's just wrong. So PGR is going to be physical render something, really. So that's it. That's why it's set up as default, because it is the go-to setup. It's much more beautiful, and as you can see, it has richer gradients, and it just looks better. Or Ravafake is just two gradients, two colors from two. And to be honest, that actually annoyed me. That nucleus, you must fight your teacher over that. So it's in Ravafake, you're only going to have two colors from two. You might as well just use a gradient instead, because what's the point of that? And just look at this. How much cleaner and better does this clear sky look like? Plus, if we enable clouds here, it's just going to be still clouds with gradients. And if we add it here, it's going to be clouds with amazing effects. So, your teacher is wrong. And that... I get what's going on. Your teacher is just somebody that learned 3ds Max and Corona like 25 years ago, or 10 years ago, because that's how old Corona is, and he just refuses to learn. He just, no, the new stuff is too new, I'm not touching it. I bet you, Nucleus, tell me, did that teacher also tell you to not use physical material and legacy is the right way to go? Tell me that, because if that's the case, just don't listen to that person, because although I respect teachers, because I'm one, and I kind of don't want to be, not very kind. Yeah, probably she was teaching legacy. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's just a person that refuses to learn. That's not a teacher. That's just a bot. Don't. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry, but this is such a huge problem in the industry that people just refuse to learn. They just learn that once, and they're just afraid of going any further. You cannot imagine how much time I had to just force my friends into learning physical because they just refused. And no, that's not. With all the respect to your teacher, kindly nod, agree, and never listen to her. Now let's continue, because we were supposed to be talking about walls, right? So walls material, it's supposed to be randomized. Randomization is the go-to option for us, and we want to have a bit additional randomization on top of it. So again, just to make sure that this material is going to be exactly the way we want it, I'm going to be further randomizing it also in my mixing. So this random is going to mean that now we take this material in and we add Corona Color Correct into it. The whole shtick, the whole idea is super simple. I can actually remake this with you so it's easier for you to understand. The first thing we go through to is just simple color for the wall. Whenever we set up our material, we want to make sure that we first tackle the biggest chunks of objects of all. So we want to make sure that anything that has a material. Hey Mike, nice lives as always. Thank you so much. I am absolutely flabbergasted, grateful, and super excited to say that I've got the best audience in the world. I don't know what I did in the past life to deserve you guys, but you guys are awesome, and thank you for being that way, because it just makes my life so much easier. So let's leave this out for a second. This is going to be our Magnus Opum, and now we're going to take this out. And the first thing we go for whenever we set up our material for our walls and such objects is again, are you... Okay, now we want to make sure that we save our file. If HDRI has more details and good, now the question is how to select HDRI for our need now. So it's always going to be just you setting up exactly what you need and seeing the result. You cannot predict how the HDRI is going to work, because HDRIs are very powerful, but due to the fact that it's definitely going to be up to the HDRI creator to set up the intensity and the values. There's no standard setup for it. So an HDRI that looks okay and it's very bright normally with exposure 1, is not going to, a different one is going to require you to go -5, although it looks the same. It's just the intensity values set up by the artist, so you cannot really predict that. That's another minus of HDRIs. They're better, they're more unique, but they're just unpredictable to some extent and not very flexible. And yeah, you cannot just set up your workflow to always be ready for it. Unless you're working with just one manufacturer of HDRIs, that's going to be a totally different story, but it's still going to come down to, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so here we've got the wall material set up, right? So this is our material for the wall itself. And you can kind of tell that now we're trying to tackle the biggest... We want to tackle the biggest chunk of our scene first, because this is going to have the biggest impact on the rest of the materials. Just look at this. If I'm going to make this red, the whole scene has a red tint because due to color bleeding. Even if it's going to be a neutral tone, you have to take that into account. So always make sure that you go for that. And obviously the first thing we set up is the amount of reflection we're going to be seeing in our scene. Often going higher on your walls is actually not not a bad idea, because it's going to just make it more silkier, a little bit more interesting, and we're going to actually see those reflections a bit clearer. So don't be shy when creating your walls. Try to add a little bit of roughness, so there's some of that nice effect going on in the crevices and corners, but also don't overdo it, because, well, obviously we want to be subtle. Now, going back to our key material, if I just set this up here, you're going to notice that it's just yellow and weird, and that's not exactly what we're after, and there's a lot of repetition. Although our randomization is set up correctly, it's still not enough to justify the full-fledged material setup. I mean, it's good, it looks awesome, but we want to make sure that we randomize each tile always. Now, whenever we want to set up our map or textures for walls like this, we want to find a little bit of a balance between the color we're after and the amount of color we're using. So, for example, let's say that those stains are a bit too aggressive. So at this point, what I'm going to do is grab my color picker and just select one of the colors here. For example, I'm going to be blatantly just dropping in, and look what I'm going to do. I'm going to be using 0% of my texture. I'm just using the color. So if the color is very similar to the texture, I'm going to be using 50% of it, and now suddenly the stains are less intrusive into my scene, so it's much easier to work with. Now we can continue by creating our first Corona, not curvature map. We're going to be going for Corona and maps, and we're going to go for Corona Color Corrector. So Corona Color Correct is my go-to map, like always. So we first desaturate this map because I want this to be nice and black and white. So you can still see that there's a little bit of tint of yellow due to the fact that initially I've set up this color to be also yellowy. So let's desaturate it by taking away saturation. Key is going down, and suddenly we're going to have a stronger, nicer looking wall. Okay, so now I want to have some contrast between that color and the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the gamma for one of them, or just blatantly exposure, so it's just basically darker version of the same thing. It's randomized, so I'm not going to be afraid of working with it as I go. Now we're going to create a third map, which is going to be the map that we also give to our students. It's just Dirt 1. For those of my students that are listening, this is just Dirt 1. And we want to plug this all into our Corona mix. Corona mix is just a regular mix, but it has more blending options, and I'm going to mix it up. Now, the thing is that we also want to have the randomization as per my instructions. So we're going to add this in, enable the randomize each tile, and now if I add this in, we're going to see that there's going to be something funny going on, because we're actually mixing in just a black and white texture in some kind of funny manner. That's really good, because first of all, we're going to go for the base color here, the top color here, and we're essentially dealing with the same texture but with high degree of randomization in it, so it's going to be much more prominent and a little bit better looking. So going back to what we want the contrast to be visible. So let's make sure that we've got the amount set up to 100 for my texture, so it's nice and strong texture with a lot of good look in it. So now here I can take this out. You can see that the map is looking kind of funny. So let's see how that reacts if we've got a black and white map. You already see that the mix is extremely delicate, but at the same time it's good enough for our purposes. So we're just going to add this in, a subtle nudge towards what we need. Now there's another Corona Color Correct just to make sure that we get the exact result we're after. So I'm basically going to add this in, but again, the shtick is to also add a Corona ambient occlusion. So corona ambient occlusion is just an AO map that we're adding to emphasize the dirt and all of the imperfections. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And a mixture of all of those textures will ensure that we're getting a bit better, a bit stronger results all over the place. And you can clearly see that it works really well. If you want to avoid any kind of texture issues, you can also mix it through Corona 3 Planar Map, because that's going to ensure the best mapping for your objects. But in this case, I'm not going to be going as far as that. Also, whenever we use our AO map, you want to make sure that there's a little bit of extra added to the crevices, and also it wouldn't be unwise to set up it so that it's going to be inside and only the same object occludes, so it's going to be much easier for you to set up. And now we're just going to set this up real quickly, and we're just going to continue with a darker tone on our wall and a little bit less distance, okay? And actually outside looked better. We've got it. Now it looks perfect, so we can continue to the next step. I'm going to make this a bit darker, so it's not as bright. So let's go for 70% of that. Nice. Okay, so here we are. Hello, Mike. How to make leaves come alive? I've tried most of the time and get dark green, but then I look the other render, I see vibrant green. Any suggestions? Bibek, you just need to go through a trial and error or join VizAcademy and we'll learn how to do it. Please recommend VizAcademy to your teacher. No, because I laugh off. I laughed, so she's not going to like me. No, don't. We're going to do well without her. She's probably a lovely person, but no. No. Base bump is the object that we're adding, so the roughness, the round edges is something we need for our scenes, especially the larger ones. So we've got some additional crevices and some additional nicer reflections in those areas. So it's just so we emphasize the older look in our scene. So I'm just going to go for some like 8 centimeters. That's going to be exaggerated, obviously, but we're going to highlight those details a lot. Now, that's basically going to lead us to the next biggest chungus of all, and that is going to be either our windows or our floor. Windows are just black objects, so I'm not going to even bother with that. But here it's just a simple texture with randomization, and that's it. So Corona mapping, a randomization, 2 inputs because brilliant students. And we've got it. Honestly, we didn't need to do the double input here, so I'm just going to do 1 input and clean this up. Okay, that's perfect. Now go for it, and we're just going to go ahead and detach this element off of our by the way, we're recycling. We're using almost the same texture and for our floor, but with different settings, so it's going to look totally different. And you can see that to emphasize the color, we're adding a little bit of tint, so again, it's nice and easy for us to set up. Done. Okay, so the most of our scene is here, but there is still a little bit of icky look to it. We're missing a couple of things. First of all, the furniture. The sofa needs to be brighter, or we need to add more exposure. Just double checking the environment. We've got I've reset my intensity of the sky, so that's why we were not getting enough lighting. Okay, so that's one thing. I just need to correct that. Okay, so we got it. Now we need the sofa to be a little bit better looking. And again, we're just going to grab a row at this Corona color correct. Let's make it 1.3. Okay. Slightly more desaturated. Nice. And actually, I kind of think that maybe the desaturation was a mistake. Yeah, it was. Okay, so now it looks perfect. This is oversaturated. The floor is just too tinted, so we're going to lower the saturation a little bit. I think I didn't like the amount of saturation. Okay, now it looks nice and concrete-like. Let's increase some of the roughness values. So for that, to avoid doing too much, I'm going to add a clear coat layer. So clear coat is going to help me get that another level of varnish or some sort of sheen on top of it. And roughness is going to be set up to 2, so it's nice and easy to see. But I'm also going to have the original, so the shininess of my floor is just there. And that's what I'm going for. And now I love what I did with the walls, but now we kind of want to move on to the lighting setup because now since the elements are mostly done, I want to emphasize some of the additional lighting. And since we deleted the lights, I'm just going to show you how I typically try to navigate whenever I create lighting to emphasize the elements in my scene. First, I'm going to try to ensure that my viewers are going to be looking where I want them to be looking. So a little bit of sofa, a little bit of this area, and also I think that this bar area needs to be emphasized. So let's go ahead and start by creating a new Corona light. So that's going to be Corona light, and I'm going to be setting it to a disk. I want to ensure that whatever light I'm going to be creating, it's either going to be warm or cold, because I want to lead my viewers to believe that they're looking at more natural lighting. So first I'm going to go for the targeted light. And the trick with targeted light is to ensure that you actually use the target the right way. So for example, what I like doing is I grab the target in my scene, get the select and place, and I place it exactly where I want the light to be shining. So that's exactly where I want it. Let's say that it is. Now I'm going to activate this lighting, or first, before even that, I'm going to create a light mix to be able to quickly see what type of impact this light is going to have. So start interactive, we're going to go to light mix, turn off the environment, and now you can see that this single light is going to add so much more life to my shot. So first of all, we're going to be changing it to Kelvin temperature, and I'm going to be making this light a little bit blue, so it's going to have stronger emphasis in this area. Also, we're going to be adding a little bit of directionality, something around 0.5, 0.6, so the lighting is going to be more dramatic, and you can see how much dramatic lighting we're adding thanks to this just simple light. Slightly smaller, slightly more condensed, 0.6 is going to be it, and now you can see that we're essentially laser focusing on some of the elements. So without it and with, that's perfect. That's what I wanted to do. That's just adding to my scene additional oomph. Okay, so next, I'm going to ensure that I also have a light that's going to be shooting upwards. So this light is going to be now added to the rest. So let's grab this light and its target. Okay, and now the target needs to go here. So I'm going to just grab it and just target at that element. Okay, so it's now shooting in that direction. That's perfect, because again, I want this to be nice and warm, but it's very cold at the moment. So we're going to do this light much simpler and much more subtle. So okay, let's ensure that, and we've got it. Now it just works absolutely perfecto. So Control S, thank you. Fun on my computer is just doing something weird. I need to manually correct it. And also directionality goes down, but I'm also going to go for local. Oh, that's the way too low. So let's go for 5. And let's go for movement, local, and let's move this local object closer, so it's not going to be spreading as much. It's just a mood light. Probably your viewers are going to think it's a light from one of the fixtures, so that's why it's not supposed to be too strong. And also, let's not make it as warm, just a little bit, and maybe actually just a little bit stronger and bigger. Okay, that's it. That's looking perfect. So now we've got a good contrast between the two. We want to make sure that the tone, or let's say the vibe of those two objects, is going to be similar, and we're not going to overemphasize it. So that's it. Now I think I can go back to my walls for a second and just try to make this material a little bit darker and this much darker. So it's going to just emphasize the material even further. Okay, got it, got it, got it. Perfecto. Okay, there's a lot of reflection going on here. Nice. Got it. Now it's a little bit darker and a little bit grimmer. Perfect. Now, the last thing that we would like to work with is the emphasis on some elements here. For example, I don't like that my beautiful plant doesn't have enough translucency. So first thing you do is just create a new tab called plants. You go to your rendering, select your object and select it. It's a common bush from Chaos. Also, we set up the material last webinar. So the long story short, it's just a lot of translucency with a much brighter color in here. So it's supposed to be just nice and bright, but I don't see that effect very well. It's not emphasized enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab one of my lights or create a new one. Both options are fine, just like this. Let's create one. Okay, and now we're going to be making sure that our element is going to be just clearly going up, and we're going to make sure that it's slightly behind our tree but not in front of our camera. So the idea is that I want to grab those two, make sure that this one light is going to be slightly directional. It's going to exclude everything but the trees, so it only includes those. And now, once we are back, we're going to notice that at the moment, it looks as if only this light is interacting with my tree. But I want this to be, again, nice and subtle. So we're going to change the intensity to 2 and make this a little bit warmer. So it's going to have that nice, some of those nice streaks of light. But also, there's another thing. Visible directly, no. Occluded other lights, no. And we're going to make sure that it just generally doesn't exist for this material. And suddenly we're getting that beautiful halo along our leaves. So now I'm just going to be putting it exactly where it belongs. So closer and more behind the tree. Also a bit higher, I guess. And now it's going to create that beautiful effect at the top. And this is the point I can just start emphasizing the effect, for example, by going through 15 or 5. So that's the 5 value I'm going to go for, and we got basically all the lighting we needed. Okay, so now that's done. Let's go for 25 in here. Perfecto. And the lighting is mostly emphasized. Now, how do we set up our bottles? Because bottles were obviously downloaded objects. So I'm not going to go through each and every bottle one by one because that's going to cost us too much time. But instead, hello Mike, how do you make leaves? Okay, Mike, how much time a small project takes, let's say a bedroom with 4 renders to confirm from client to final image? Do they ask too many repetitions? So the thing is that you must have a limit when it comes to reviews, and it's always going to come down to, well, you doing the work, let's say each time they make changes. So you want to give them free changes, 2 or 3 changes, depending, or let's say a round of changes, depending on what they want. But the realistic approach is to ensure that whenever you're dealing with a client, you inform them first and foremost that yes, the changes are possible, but over a certain number, let's say 2, 3, you have to charge percentage of the project, because at that point you're going to be spending weeks on it, and you, let's say, ethically cannot charge for it the full price. It would be ridiculous, and it would be kind of unfair. So instead, you just go for a percentage, and you just calculate your hourly rate that way. and that's what you roll with. There's no other way. You just have to deal with it the way I'm telling you, because otherwise your clients are going to be disenfranchised, and they're not going to want to work with you because you're too difficult, or you're going to be producing problems, or there's going to be something different, which is just, well, they won't get what they want, so why would they even choose you? Typical turnout for a project like a bedroom and with 4 renders, for me it's 1 day, but realistically speaking it should be 3 days from start to finish. Although start is not once I read the email. Start means that once I have the full brief and I read the emails, I've already confirmed all the materials with my clients, I understand what I'm doing, and I'm just doing it. That's the 3 days, because negotiating, going through emails, that's not work. I mean, it is, but that's not the 3D work. And for full bedroom and all the details, if you're advanced, it's 1 day. If you're a newbie, it should be approximately a week. If you're intermediate, approximately 3 days. First day is typically just modeling. The second day is materials and the first renders so the client is satisfied. And the second day you're going to be given more instructions and just re-render the full version and rinse and repeat. That's it. So now, as for the bottles, we want to do a bit of a trickery here, but not too much. So whenever we're working with, let's say, objects like full mesh bottles, there's going to be always a separate object or a separate element for the cap. And typically it's going to be most likely that if that's not just vodka, we could just do something to make it even more interesting. So we go here, material, get from selected, and we look for the cap. So that's the label. Label, for example, could be set up with multiple labels that you download off the internet. So that's a plus for you. There's also glass, alcohol, glass clear, and there's no cork. Okay, it's perfect. It's just vodka things, I guess. So let's see it. Okay, that Rego, let's go. Rego, let's go. And material, get from selected. Now we're just going to grab that and try to do it again. So here, the label is actually going to be a perfect example of what I'm saying. You don't want to zoom in on it, you don't want to change too much, but you want to have some fun. So Corona multi-map, keep all the material as sub-map, and we're going to, you can see that there's an opacity map. So that means that whatever is on the label itself is just redundant. So we can just set up multiple colors, or we can just set up some hue randomization at the level of 50%, and each of those colors, even if it's going to be just one and mesh element, even if it's going to be set to be 1 item count, you're going to notice that, well, the original is going to be purple. So each selected, each randomized bottle is going to have its own unique color. So you basically want to have this multi-map set up for the cork, for the labels and whatnot. So you're essentially going to introduce a huge amount of randomization into your shot, because that's basically how we can get all of those objects to suddenly look awesome for free. So that's, again, a basic thing to do. You can see that if we just use this one scatter for a moment, let's just scatter lister, let's turn this and that off. Even with just one scatter and all of those bottles, it's easy for us, but let's take all of them out and now just add one. You can see that there's none, and just one bottle with that randomization. Without randomizing the size, we're not going to be that big of a problem or that big of a pickle, because you can see that thanks to the fact we've got randomized color, it looks as if we're giving, let's say, same line of product but multiple times. So just one bottle with a label is enough to have a lot of cool effects. But now we can do a bit of randomization in size wise, and suddenly we've got the whole shelves full of random objects. Because I want to stay true to the almost original files, I'm just going to go for this because it's much easier. And thanks to randomization of all of the elements at the same time, we're essentially giving it out for free. Last webinar, we mentioned that we can scatter the glasses. We've set up all the props that we downloaded of the 3D Sky. Sorry, 3D Sky. We downloaded them off the Chaos Cosmos. And the funny enough thing is that now the last material that we're supposed to be doing is the wood material. Wood material was created on our live streams like a couple of hundred times. So I'm just going to walk you through it and tell you how we can approach it the easiest way. First, you need to have your bitmap. Regardless what bitmap you're using or what you're planning on doing, make sure that whether if it's floor or wall or something like furniture, make sure that the texture is seamless. If it's not seamless, make it seamless or you're going to suffer. Now, the first thing we do is add Corona mapping randomization. So mapping randomizer. That's the first thing we're going to be doing. And thank you for the heart. We go to mesh element because we want each element individually to be randomized. And now we're just going to be going for -1 + 1, -1 + 1. And remember the pizza, where we can do the pizza, but in this case it's wood and we don't want the grain to be too crazy. So I'm not going to be doing anything. Scaling is optional, so I'm not going to do anything at all. Now we're going to continue by creating Corona multi-map, and that's going to be our color number 1. Why do we use a Corona multi-map? Because honestly, it's going to give us the ability to go for the slightest amount of randomization in gamma, and that's going to mean that if two pieces of wood are going to be next to one another and will have a very similar texture because it's going to, randomization is just going to randomly roll something else, we're going to still have different shades or different brightness of it. So that's going to mean that it's more natural. So again, it's going to be just for our plus. And now we create Corona color correct, and now we're here and we're there. So roughness and our base color. Why do we make sure that Corona color correct is going to be set up this way? Well, first of all, you cannot tell the colors because saturation and contrast, it's not going to tell you anything. What you want is to go for desaturation. Thanks to that, you're going to only, and your brain is only going to be registering the black and white color. So again, we're going to invert colors and we're just going to do the following. The darker the color, the more reflective, slicker the reflection is going to be. So we're just going to make sure that we play around with that just until we're satisfied with the amount. Also, the color wise, I don't think we need to do much, but I'm going to desaturate it because most of the textures we're going to be starting with internet-wise will start with a little bit too bright of a color, so a bit of yellow, so that we fit the rest, and suddenly I can uncheck the overwrite materials because honestly we went through all of them. The counter is the last thing we should do at the moment. Okay, that needs to be a little bit brighter, 1.5, and maybe a bit more desaturated. Actually lower that. Okay. Now it looks perfect. Look at that. Okay, and the counter is going to be the last material that's going to be custom in here, but just for the sake of making it super cool, we're going to ensure that we zoom in. And because it's a simple marble material and we don't want to overdo it, right? So let's go here, and it's a simple material. We don't need the roughness material at all. Here you can just take the bitmap, add a little bit of Corona color correct. Those two are mostly redundant, but I'm going to go ahead and go for Corona 3 planar map. So it's going to be easier for me to just use it. Okay, so here we go. Now it's going to be neatly set up. Let's go for 120, something like that. Okay, so here we go. Perfect mapping all over the place. And now the last thing that I want to do. Is there any? No, there's none. Okay, the corner around the edges is set up a little bit too high. 5 is going to be enough. Perfect. counter needs some reflection. I'm going to like that more. Perfect. Now, the thing that I want to do whenever I have any kind of marble that I want to deal with. So advanced options, media options, amount, subsurface scattering, we apply that a little bit. So the materials are going to just grab that amount, a small amount of light. Radius is set to 5 centimeters so that there's a little bit of that extra, and you can see it's too much. It's too much, I know. So let's lower that to 2 centimeters. So it's just a little bit of marble look. And obviously we want to make sure that we also have our chronocolor correct with the same 3-planar mapping, which I'm just going to copy for the sake of making it easier. We're just going to go ahead and reapply this, but as our scatter color. So it's not just going to be orange, it's just going to be the same texture, but much brighter. Same principle as with our for example our translucency, but on a different scale. So let's go here, even brighter. Okay, maybe shift the color a little bit. The opposite way. Why 3-planar for marble? Why not unwrapped? So honestly, the UVW map that we had before was the answer. It was too aggressive, and typically when you have arches, you want to use a mapping that's going to be just easier to control. So in here, you can see that the counter itself is looking good, but it has the curves, and if we're going to be using UVW mapping, often what's going to happen, especially if we just use non-clay view, often you're going to see that on the edges you're going to have a funny situation where the texture is just not going to be fitting. And right now we're still rendering, which is redundant because at the moment it's not going to work. But you can see that with UVW mapping, if the texture meets at any position, it's just going to break, especially if it's going to be, as I said, on an arch, and it's just not going to look as good as it should. So let's go for a little bit of contrast. And the funny part is that thanks to our setup, each angle is looking good. So it was just easy that way. Auto adjustment because I can, and we can now start applying a little bit of extras into our shot. Everything is absolutely super easy and I love it. So it's again just a clean, very simple scene created by us during a live stream. I think I'm going to increase the exposure still to something around 1. Yep, perfecto. And now we can render this out, and then we could take this to Photoshop, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be necessary because the scene is just looking good, and I would slightly desaturate it actually. So minus, and maybe slightly emphasize something with a LUT, just for the sake of making it more consistent. As you can see, this LUT is just a magnificent. It's the first one. And now we're going to go for NVIDIA or GPU Intel, just 85, just a little bit bigger than needed. So 20160, and now we can render this out and set this to 10. We're done. Looks pretty nice. I mean, it's something we done online, and I could fine-tune the colors, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm at the moment I was improvising with most of the materials, just recreating based on what I remember they looked like. So it's not something that you always have to be 100% through to. The thing is that we should ensure that the mood is set up correctly, that whatever we do, if we do not create some kind of monstrosity that's going to just go too far away from the original. Honestly, why am I actually rendering this in this resolution if I can just go that resolution and have it in 5 minutes and still use the same tricks, because why not? So at the moment, we're just going to be rendering, and meanwhile, let's go through the usual suspects. So guys, if you want to become our student, go to VizAcademy Co. UK. We currently have animations added to our training pro bono, so it's just something that doesn't necessarily increase the price, but it does increase the quality. Now, available dates is basically September, so if you want to join us on 15th of September, please do so, because the current group is finishing up with their exteriors at the moment, and I'm going to be looking for students like you. So if you want to become my student, it's your last chance to grab your seat, because we typically try to lock the reservations 1 week or a couple of days before the start of the group, so everybody has enough time to set up everything. To set up, you're going to need 3ds Max, and that's basically it, and a working computer. Just a little bit of gray matter, because I want my students to be as brilliant as the students I have right now. Even currently, the Robin that's in our chat, although due to reasons, he's not going to produce his render yet, but he's going to be able to deliver that at some point. And as I said, I'm just going to help him with that, because he's an awesome lad. The fact is, and something that I absolutely love, is that a lot of people Hassan, oh my god. Now, oh my god, I just saw that chat. Let's remove that. That's just wow. Some people. That reminds me of the IO2 software, the guys that created Forest Pack, how to crack Forest Pack. If you yeah, you probably know it. Anyway, the fact is, if you want to become my student, go to VizAcademy Go UK, because my students are awesome. That's all I can say about them. It's not me, it's them. It's always my students, because wow, there must be something in the water there, wherever all of them live, because wow, the effects speak for themselves. And you can also see some of my, let's say, well, me trying to go through our students' work and describe it, but this is all. All of those images were created by my students. For example, currently Passant is literally in this group. She's an awesome architect with very sophisticated skill set, and well, what can I say? She's awesome, she's amazing, she's ambitious. Here Natalia is another amazing, brilliant example. I am super satisfied with my students, and again, my students and their progress. You can always see that each day and each moment they're working on something. As I said, that's David's work, and another brilliant person. The fact is that we just, you know what's the funniest thing ever? Whenever our students finish their work, we just simply post it. That's all. We don't need to cherry pick. It's just, it's done, so it's done. We can post it, that's all. And that's how it works. So if you want to bring your work to a little bit higher level, if you want to be more professional, if you want to start doing what we do here, please go to VizAcademy Co. UK and join us now. There's also something that I should mention to all of you, because obviously we're live on YouTube. So if you want to become our member, the member of our channel, you might want to go to VizAcademy channel right now and click a roo in this area where you can just join us and become a member right now. There's some awesome faces I see here, so thank you for becoming our members. It greatly helps us, and it's an amazing thing. On top of that, all of our members are just 5 minutes after our well, what we do here, we are going to get the access to this website, so make sure to go through it. And obviously, if you could also go through the forum, guys, I would highly appreciate it. It's going to help us a lot. So guys, I think we're just going to stopperoo our render right now, so we give it a chance to denoise. Congratulations, we just created some amazing images. If you're going to follow this tutorial, if you're going to create your own scene based on what you've seen here, please feel free to comment under one of those videos, or you can send us your link to your portfolio. It would be nice to just see that you've created something. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, but also, most importantly, on VizAcademy Co. UK. My name is Mike, and this was Webinar with VizAcademy from Zero to Hero. Next week, we're going to go through reviews of your work, and this time I'm going to post it a little bit earlier. And just to make sure that we can have a little bit of extra fun, I'm also going to give you a small task to perform so we can see what you guys will come up with. So be on the lookout for the next posts, and as I said, members are getting the full scene from A to Z, everything done in it, while everybody else can also go to our posts tab and find the WG file or PDF file to follow along to make sure that you create the same image as we did during this live. Once again, thank you. Oh, by the way, David, since you are a student of ours, even if you're not a member, just DM me and I'm going to send you the scene because, well, you're David, right? Thank you so much. See you next week, and good luck to you, good luck to me, and I just have a nice evening. Bye-bye. Oh my God, Irene is also here. Thank you. Thank you for thank you for showing up. Thank you. Bye-bye.